What is up, y'all? Welcome to another AMA episode. Ask Me Anything. We're here in beautiful San Diego, California. The weather's getting nice this weekend. It was a little gloomy, but we're chilling. I got jiu-jitsu practice tomorrow. I'm going to go rip back and tries after this as the lift for the day. So we're going to get into some questions today, but first, just kind of checking in with y'all. Haven't talked to you guys in a little bit. Had a super fun, month and a half. Busy though, busy in a fun way. Like went down to LA, did a podcast with the Nelk boys over there. Which I think people are like, oh, how did that? Like, it's really not complex how that happens. It's like you run into them through mutual friends. They're like, let's rip a podcast. You're like, okay, sick. Pretty much that simple. And then what else I do? Oh yeah, I went to Miami. That was super fun. Worked out with Aaron Rodgers' trainer, this dude I've actually known for a while named Aaron Alexander. Aaron. And yeah, did a really cool workout with him. You guys should go watch that episode because there's like breathing techniques in there that you can learn. He's pretty good at free diving, so I've been trying to get more into spear diving and spear fishing and free diving. So I feel like why I'm like into that stuff is I just went like a little while ago in Costa Rica with my buddy and I shot a fish right in the face. It was so fun. We ate it after and I was like, this feels like some primal ass activity, bro. Like a lot of these people out there, like, actually don't harvest their own food. I'm one of them, bro. I go to the grocery store and just buy food, but I'm like, I think I could get more into actually hunting and fishing a good amount of my main protein. So that was amazing. And then so came back here, bought spearfishing gear, realized going California is a little bit harder. Still was able to shoot a fish in California, but I want to get more into spearfishing, bro. I feel like it's good to have these hobbies in your life that are like keep you active, keep you just engaged. Now I'm getting all this spearfishing content. I'm learning more about it, learning more about free diving, watching videos, these dudes who take a big breath and they go under for 2 minutes, bro, at like 100 feet. It's crazy. I don't even know how they do that because like I can go down. I think the deepest I've gone right now is about 30 feet free diving. And it's like I can't dive down. I think like 45 seconds to a minute. It's like my longest dive. So learning more about that, really fun. Let me know if you've ever heard of that or if you would do that. It'd be fun to take some of y'all spearfishing once I get a little better. But yeah, I want to start capping my own fish in the ocean. So that's been super fun. What else have I been up to? Just chilling, bro. Like I've been back home for like 2 weeks now and already back like in my routine a little bit, which is, lifting a few times per week, going to jiu-jitsu. I don't even train jiu-jitsu that often. It's like maybe once to twice per week. And then surfing when the waves are good or spearfishing. Yeah, just having fun, man. Hanging out with my wife, taking the dogs to the park, and just kind of getting back into that routine where I feel extremely healthy when I'm in this routine. Like I've been feeling good. My sleep has been good. I love traveling, bro. But if you're watching this, let me know if you know what I'm talking about below. But travel can be a little bit disruptive when I have home so locked in. So I love it. I'll continue to do it. But, this LA trip and then Mexico trip and then Miami trip, I was a little bit like, okay, let me lock back in. So everyone needs to lock in, it's different for me. I'm already kind of have a good baseline level of being locked in, but there are always things that I can improve on and dial in. Product wise, I'll touch on before I get to your guys' questions below. We launched the protein bars and it was unbelievable. The response. I mean, we knew they would just be a hit because we priced them better than any other real food protein bar out there with comparable ingredients. We made them so they actually taste good and they have an amazing texture. The ingredient roster is fire. There's 20 grams of protein in there. We're just so stoked on it, man. The peanut butter and the vanilla, and then we're launching chocolate probably in 3 weeks from you guys watching this, maybe 2 weeks actually. The chocolate will launch, and the chocolate's definitely our best flavor. Now, this is a good business lesson for y'all, maybe if you're interested in this type of stuff or like how I run the company is we developed different types of chocolate, like we use this cacao from this region and and we eventually got a sample that was this expensive Dutch cocoa. And bro, we tried it and the texture and the taste was unbelievable. And we wanted to stick to this thing of having them at $3 per bar. This one might need to be a little over $3 per bar. I don't know, it might be 350, it might be 340, we'll see. But when you nail something like that and you're like, okay, well, we can't do this because of the price. I'm like, bro, this is still better price than so many real food protein bars out there. And the taste is so good that like I have to launch this. Maybe we'll launch another version of chocolate that'll be that same like $2.99 price, but we have to get this out there to people. So I'm really stoked on it. And we have cinnamon swirl coming, which literally tastes like a cinnamon toast crunch, is what people are telling me that it tastes like. To me, it just tastes like this beautiful, like, yeah, like honey cinnamon swirl. I mean, it's so good. I'm really stoked on it. And we want to really take over the protein bar market by having varieties for everybody. So if people want one that has maybe monk fruit as the sweetener, we're going to work on versions like that. Um, we'll eventually launch one that's like all organic, one like it might be more expensive, but like we want options for everyone out there. So let me know any flavor ideas below. I genuinely do look at your guys' comments and try to see like what flavors people want out there, what varieties they want. But if you've tried the protein bars, go show some love on Amazon. Really helps when you leave a review. And I know they've been selling out, but yeah, other flavors of electrolytes coming soon. We were working on like Jamaica and acai. We are working on a pina colada. There's that one dude who comments day 800 of requesting pina colada. It's good. We're working on like we spend time, guys, dialing this stuff in. We could just launch it like, oh yeah, let's just launch it. No, we want to dial stuff in. So the nootropics are quickly becoming one of the best selling products. I think they're actually sold out right now, but they should be back in stock by the time this releases. People are taking 2 to 3 of those. I take 2 to 3 every single day, and I get the most calm, creative, focused energy. Helps my brain just like form sentences, think clearer, but it doesn't have that jittery effect. It has a nice, calm focus. You can use them in the afternoon or evening. So I'm really stoked on those. Let's get into your guys' questions. Let's go. Brendan, I'm 21 years old and my hairline is receding. Are there any specific supplements I can take, or what can I do? So yeah, you should take a multi-pronged approach. Obviously, getting all your micronutrients is going to be key for hair health in general. So I would be taking a zinc copper formula. We make one. Just like bolstering up your zinc and copper intake is pretty clearly linked with better hair health there. And there's other studies showing that like B vitamins and certain forms like can help with hair health. You could just like eat nutrient dense foods. Did this? You could look into like a methylated B complex. Collagen. There's some interesting stuff on. You should probably something with a little collagen. It's pretty easy to do, or any type of collagen rich protein. That's those are like some basics right there. You really want to look into like from the talking to the functional medicine doctors, if you have any like mold toxicity or severe gut problems or severe endocrine issues, they do see a massive overlap with that and hair loss. So you should rule out any of those. Topically, though, is really where you're going to want to start to do some stuff. There's obviously topical finasteride. And I think I wouldn't go into the supplementing these immediately because you can't take a lot of these compounds orally, but then you're talking about blocking DHT, and that can have like negative effects. So I would start with topical formulations for your hair. There's a good peptide one out there that The Ordinary makes, and that doesn't have those more prescription ones like topical finasteride. Yeah, and you can use like the derma roller. I'm not the guy for topical hair loss stuff. There's a lot of really good accounts that have experimented with many different things, but you should probably be doing that in the areas where you're experiencing hair loss. And then it'll be interesting to see what happens with sort of the technology around this. People are going to Turkey and getting hair transplants and stuff like that. I feel like the reviews are mixed, right? And like the results we see are mixed. So it'll be interesting to see in the next couple of years what really happens with that. But yeah, hit it topically. I don't think blocking DHT in your scalp topically is really something that's going to cause a health risk, but I would be concerned about taking some of those pills and blocking DHT. You could experience some lethargy, less, libido, shall I say. So yeah, just be careful there, but those are some things that might be able to help. Copper GHK-CU topically, people are saying helps them. Look into those things and grow that hair. Brendan, what are your thoughts on peanut butter? Is it bad for you? Is it the same as eating a seed oil? In my opinion, no. And there's this thing where people say that peanut butter has alpha toxin. And while I do think this can be an issue with some peanut butters, there are actual studies where they observe, they test a lot of nut butters, peanut butter, a bunch of different things. And in one of the studies that we looked at, only 6% of these had above the safety limits of alpha toxin. So that's not like a massive amount of peanut butters having this alpha toxin in there. So like with our protein bars, we send them off for lab testing, and you can see that they don't have this alpha toxin in there. So I think peanut butter really depends on how you feel when you eat it. That's kind of the main thing to go off of. And I wouldn't make it some main source of protein because animal proteins are by far better. But if you're talking about like our peanut butter protein bar or a peanut butter whey protein, if you like using that, they're probably not using a large amount of actual peanuts because they have a strong flavor. So, like most of the protein in our protein bars comes from that grass fed whey, that grass fed collagen. If you're having something like, I don't know what you're eating with peanut butter, maybe you're having like a sourdough, peanut butter and honey, or peanut butter and jelly before you work out. Hopefully, you're using all the good stuff there. I think that's totally fine. I think it's good. Peanut butter is very calorically dense. So, if you're somebody that's trying to lose weight, I would be careful and go more towards those like peanut butter powder things because you're going to get like a way better macro friendly ratio there. If you're just like having spoonfuls of peanut butter, that quickly adds up to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of calories. So be careful there. But if you're trying to bulk, on the other hand, might be a good idea. So I'm not against peanut butter. If you don't feel good when you eat it, like with anything, don't. Get a higher quality one if you can. But overall, I think it's decent in moderate to small amounts. Brendan, how do you find a good balance when you are doing social events, going to gatherings? There's people at a party, you're having drinks, all this stuff. Here's how I do it. When I was younger, when I was like 21, 22, I was already into health a bit, not as much as I am now, but like I would go out with friends and they would want to drink. And I already was getting this feeling of just like, yo, alcohol absolutely sucks, bro. Like I feel bad. It messes with my sleep. It messes with my skin. I don't want to drink. I was already at that place. Like, I don't want to do this. But you're in those friend groups where people still want to drink. What I would do usually is I would get like a cleaner, like seltzer style beverage or like a vodka club soda if I was at a bar, or tequila club soda with like lime. And bro, I would just barely drink it. So this would like hit the effect of like I'm meeting my friends. They want me to drink with them. I'm getting a drink, but I really like would just sip on that thing a little bit, just like nurse it. And then like when they were like, oh, we're going to go to the next bar, like I would leave that shit somewhere and go to the next bar. So I did that for a while. And like, I don't know, like that. I know it's like whatever, you're like faking the funk, but I don't really give a shit because my friends were stoked, whatever. I'm like out at the bars with them when I was younger. And I would go home and it would be like I had like a half of a drink total. Even though I went to like maybe 2 or 3 bars, I would do the same shit. It's kind of a waste of money, whatever. But I just felt comfortable at that time doing that. Nowadays, I mean, I don't drink, so it's very easy for me. If I go out to a social gathering, everybody knows I don't drink. I do like microdosing a little bit of, those special nootropics, I'll say, for YouTube. So sometimes I'll take a little 200 of those. So it's not a large amount. I like doing that. I don't really hit the za that much anymore, but like, 1 or 2 hits of the za is far better for your health than having, let's say, 2 drinks of alcohol. So alcohol is probably the one that's going to catch up with you the fastest. If you're going to drink alcohol, one thing you can do is various protocols of supplement timing. I'll tell you one right here. So before you go out, hydrate with electrolytes. Dehydration is one of the main things that can cause hangovers. So while you're drinking, just hydrate, okay? Now, in your pocket, you put some vitamin C, some N-acetylcysteine, about 500 milligrams of N-acetylcysteine. You can put activated charcoal for later. So boom, with your first drink, take some vitamin C and N-acetylcysteine right there. Vitamin B1 is another one you can throw in. But let's just stick to the NAC. If you can get your hands on alpha-lipoic acid, we sell a product that's NAC and alpha-lipoic acid, but if you just want to copy this, go for it. About 200, 300 milligrams of alpha-lipoic acid, often abbreviated as ALA. So you take NAC and ALA with your first drink, some vitamin C. Vitamin C is absolutely amazing. And then after you drink, like after you're done with your drinks, you're going home, you take that activated charcoal. You can take like 1 to 2 little capsules of activated charcoal. This is a pretty good method. Activated charcoal is going to like absorb some of those toxins as they sort of re-enter your bloodstream. So it's going to help basically filter out all that shit, all those fucking toxins from drinking alcohol. That's a pretty good method right there. If you're going to drink, I get it. Some of you in college and shit, like you're going to drink. It is what it is. But yeah, it's pretty easy for me now. I don't really eat at restaurants that aren't pretty locked in. It's not the end of the world for me if a restaurant cooks with seed oils. I'm not eating at any like, at this point in my life, I'm not eating at any like really low end restaurants where everything's kind of fucked. If I end up in a location like that, I just won't eat. I will fast. And sometimes this happens to me when I'm traveling. I'll walk around an airport or some shit and I'll just be like, I'm agnostic, bro. Like I can not eat for a while. So if I see anything that's like decent, sure, I might eat if I'm hungry. I travel with my protein bars now. We've been working on those for months. So I've had those. Bro, on a flight, you eat one of those, dialed in, dude. Like it's really, really easy. So I've developed my lifestyle to a way now where I can stay locked in. People know what the fuck I'm about. So I'm not out there drinking and shit. But there's some game for you because I have been there in your shoes, sounds like, at social gatherings, trying to just navigate my way, being healthy while still kind of living a normal life. So that's how I do it. Brennan, if I eat well, sleep well, all that, how important is it to have non-toxic products in my living space? Like my shampoos, like we're getting into like the organic cotton stuff. Bro, here is the method to get healthy, okay? First, it starts with what do you put into your body food wise, okay? You need to switch to eating more real food and learning how to manage your macro intake, your micronutrient intake, and get to a healthy weight by eating good, okay? Next is going to be sleep. If you aren't sleeping well, you don't need to spend money on a bunch of supplements or anything like that to make you magically sleep well. There's stuff that can help. But if your first line of approach, if you're not making your house dark, if you're not doing even a 10-minute meditation at night, basic stuff like that can start to improve your sleep. Next is going to be movement. If you're not exercising, you shouldn't, again, look into any type of supplement ever. Get an exercise routine going. All right. So those are going to be the 3 pillars of health. And those don't even cost a lot of money. I know food can get expensive, but like we've done videos showing how you can buy healthy food for a pretty affordable price nowadays. Okay. If you're not doing those, you don't need to look into anything else. You need to start there. Okay. You don't even need to worry about seed oils and that real, like you need to start basic. Okay. I see so many people going towards supplements, buying organic cotton boxers, which I'm rocking right now. But yet they'll be like, oh, I did have a McFlurry last week and I drank alcohol. It's stupid then. Just like don't spend money on the higher end shit if you're treating your body bad. It doesn't make sense. There's a lot of memes about this shit of like the bro who avoids seed oils but does lines at 3 a.m. It's true. It's like, why are you avoiding seed oils when you're ripping bag at 3 a.m.? Like, and it's okay, you're at that point in your life. Hopefully you get out of that point in your life, but you shouldn't be the person to worry about a lot of the higher end health stuff, okay? Once you have those pillars of health dialed in, I think it's an amazing idea to start looking into every aspect of your life and trying to make it healthier, not out of a place of fear, but from a place of, I don't want to self-sabotage my life. And if you listen to, the cancer researcher, Dr. Keneally we had in here, a lot of the shit she sees in a lot of her cancer patients and she tells them to eliminate. So why not eliminate them now? So the first thing I would go towards is skincare. Are you rubbing stuff actively onto your skin, into your hair, onto your body that might be bad for you? Because there's so many good options out there that don't have any of these toxic chemicals in there. That's a pretty easy switch. It's not insanely expensive to do. I would make that change. The next thing is your bedding. I would get rid of the polyester sheets and switch towards a more natural fabric. You can go cotton, you can go silk. You're in that bed, hopefully like 8 or 9 hours per day. That's a very easy switch to make. As far as the cotton boxers and stuff go, you could just get some cheaper ones, like some Hanes cotton boxers. I rock the organic Jaguars. They last a long time. Stuff like that is relatively easy to do as well. This isn't like a massive, difficult change in your life. Throwing out artificial fragrance and shit, I think is also a good idea. But again, we're talking high level stuff here. So yes, bro, like you say you eat, you sleep well. If you feel fine, these aren't things that you have to change immediately, but you should find a few things that are very easy to change and that aren't very a huge cost endeavor and make those changes. You might feel a little bit better. Why not? Brennan, what advice would you give to up and coming health and wellness content creators? Man, I think the big thing, bro, is like as health and wellness content creators, we need to come together. Who really is your enemy, bro? Like I see people trashing Paul Saladino a lot in posts lately, throwing up these images of Paul Saladino and saying that he's aging rapidly because of his diet. No, he's not. He's 48 years old, bro. He's jacked. He looks great. You trashing Saladino or some shit is just dumb. It's honestly dumb because the reality is he's done a lot to push health forward in the world. Okay, do I agree with everything the guy says? No. But like my enemies are Crumble Cookie, these large soda companies, McDonald's. That's where I think a lot of the energy should be focused at as far as like if you're going to hate on something. You just see this like trend of if you don't eat raw meat every day, people freak the fuck out. Like that community is very like, they get really aggressive. And it's like, I like having these like niche debates in health, don't get me wrong, but where I'm focused at lately is I'm trying to pull people out of the hell and despair that you should all agree with that is just being unaware, not even being tuned into any of this stuff, just blindly walking into a McDonald's, blindly consuming soda, blindly hitting a geek bar, and you don't know. You don't know because no one's ever fucking grabbed you on your shoulder and gone, hey, you need to try a different way than how you are living. And this can literally fuck up your life. Like, you need to be aware of this shit. That's why I do a lot of what I do, to pull people out of that. Okay. And like, so as a health and wellness content creator, one of my tips is start with positivity. You know, if you want to hate on some of these large corporations that are clearly poisoning people, go for it. I think that's great. But yeah, I've seen some of these dudes try to start out their careers by hating on people, you know, and it's just not, I don't know, man. It's not it. And, you know, hate will only get you so far. But yeah, post consistently, live the life, show what you do, try different things, and just be about it. Brennan, I can't install an RO system into my house. What is my next best option? So the next best option, there are two things you can do. One is a little bit cumbersome, but it's to buy a large glass bottle. You can get 2.5 gallon glass things, even 5 gallon glass things. You can go to a Whole Foods, a Sprouts, even outside of some like Safeways and Vons, they have these water fill-up stations. Usually it's reverse osmosis water. I've seen some Crystal Geyser spring water ones. You pay like $1.50, something like that, maybe $2.50, and you fill up these waters, okay? Glass is kind of a bitch. They can break in the back of your car. I might have had that happen in a Subaru in like 2012, dog, okay? I'm just saying. The next best step would be a BPA-free plastic. Those harder plastics actually don't leach as much microplastics into your water, so I think it's less of a concern. So you get one of those BPA-free 5 gallon jugs, maybe two of them. You go to the Whole Foods. I used to do this. Fill them up with water. You know, enter it in the self-checkout. Wink. And yeah, that's how you get your water. Then you fill it up. They sell 5 gallon ones with spigots too, so I would just like flip that bitch, put it on the top of my fridge, and that's how I used to get water a long time ago. And then I just installed a RO filter. Bro, I installed a RO filter back when I was like renting an apartment. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you know, my landlord, I don't know, man. Like, they probably didn't, I don't know, they wouldn't have approved it if I emailed them like, hey, I'm going to install an RO filter. They probably would have been like, no. But I just installed that shit, you know? And like, yeah, we did like drill a little bit into the thing to create the spigot to go out. Fuck it. You know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Brendan, what do you think of young adults getting into GHK-CU for acne scars, stuff like that? So there's two methods to do this. One is obviously, I'm going to be careful with what I say here just so you guys can see this episode, right? Putting it right into your body. Okay. We talked to Dr. Abood about that. It doesn't appear that like there's like insane safety risks there. There can be if people misdose it. You should be wary of your zinc to copper ratio and all this stuff. So that's like one interesting way of going about it. But honestly, if you're talking acne and scars, topically, this compound is amazing. And I've been using it for the last couple months because we're developing a product in which it is a tallow-based GHK-CU cream. Now, I see companies selling tallow where they just put GHK-CU in it. That doesn't work. GHK-CU is water soluble. Okay, this is why you see it in a lot of serums and stuff like that. So to properly make a moisturizer in which the GHK-CU actually gets absorbed into the skin, you have to use what are called emulsifiers, okay? Companies don't give a fuck about this, so they just put GHK-CU into tallow. The GHK-CU molecule sits on top of your skin, of your moisturizer, doesn't get absorbed, and you're wasting your money. And like, you know, yes, it has this beautiful blue color. You're like, oh, that's working. The ingredients in there, it's not actually getting into your skin. So we figured out a way using olive oil-based emulsifiers. We had to go high level with this. Dude, this fucking took forever. Cosmetics calls, scientists that work on cosmetics. It was a lot, but I'm like, I want something that actually works. And so I've been using it for a while, and it's amazing. I'm a big fan of topical GHK-CU. Obviously, our brand's not even out yet. A couple weeks probably from when you're watching this. Stoked on that product. But it's so far. But you can like find other topical GHK-CUs. Some of them have some kind of horrible ingredients because, you know, some of these companies just don't really go the non-toxic route. Be careful. But I am a big fan of using topical GHK-CU. One method that we talked with Dr. Abood about, and there's this other doctor, Dr. Andra, who's very popular in this kind of space, talks about basically putting on topical GHK-CU and getting in front of a red light, they are like, this is the method. This like repairs your skin in a whole other way. I got to find out the exact science with Dr. Andra and Dr. Abood on this, but they like swear by this. I've seen people posting about this on X and stuff. So I've been doing that. Like I've been putting on that whipped tallow GHK-CU product that we are going to release, and then getting in front of my red light and then going in the sauna. I feel like it's been working wonders. So yeah, it's good, man. I'm a fan of it. Brennan, can mold exposure cause acne? I'm living in a moldy area. Once I get out of the mold, will I see my health kind of come back in a way? Bro, mold exposure is clearly one of the worst things for your health. But there's really interesting stuff with it. When we have Dr. Evan run organic acids tests on people, like you will see people that live in a moldy environment have so much mold. Their bodies will literally be a mold factory, as he calls it. But sometimes you will have other people that live in the very same house that won't have as much mold in their body. So there are like different, conditions that cause your body to basically be, as Evan calls it, a mold factory. Now, if you live in a moldy area, I would definitely see if you can save up and get what's called an organic acids test. You can tap in with Evan Brand, mention Santa Cruz. He might give you some money off on an organic acids test. But you should see like what you actually have going on in your body. Then you basically get a protocol of supplements depending on what species of mold are literally growing in your body. It's unfortunate to sort of get that out. But bro, like honestly, if you're having health problems and you're living in a moldy environment and you are experiencing some, sinus symptoms, some lung symptoms, some skin symptoms, your body probably is a mold factory. Okay. So you should invest some money to get that done. I know it's kind of frustrating, but because shit's kind of expensive. But I'm just here to tell you what works, bro. Like, honestly, you could just like kind of look into some podcasts that Evan's done on mold and sort of start to do some of these protocols yourself. But the best way to do it is actually working with someone like that. So, yeah, man, that's the truth. I wish normal doctors knew about this shit. Oh my God. Like, I actually bought 2 mold tests for 2 of the cancer survivors that we had on the podcast or on Locked In because they're still dealing with cancer. And it's not like I'm saying mold causes cancer, but like, this is just something that their doctors they're not going to get them the organic acids test. And then they work with great doctors. Okay. This isn't like a anti-Western medicine thing. But I'm like, okay, can we just like figure out if they have a bunch of mold going on in their bodies? And Evan's like, for sure. Bought them those tests. He just sent them today, actually. I wish that shit was more affordable and just more well known, and that the insurance model of healthcare could see how dangerous mold poisoning really is. So yeah, look into that. Brendan, what do you think of athletes using dextrose? So for endurance athletes, people are like, oh, like what if I drank sugar and stuff like that? If you are a true endurance athlete, like you are lean for one, you are doing a lot of endurance, like you're talking long distance running or swimming. I'm not like opposed to people using a bit of sugar. Okay. I would say for many, many, many people watching this, you might even think you're an endurance athlete, but you're not. You can totally just use fruit to get carbohydrates. You can use stuff like honey to get carbohydrates, and just food in general to get carbohydrates to fuel your workouts. And you do not need to be supplementing with dextrose or sugar. Okay. Now, there's clear evidence that carbohydrates can help fuel workouts. But I think for many people, my issue with like all the sugar and like Gatorade and stuff like that is that across the nation, you have people that are 40 pounds, 50 pounds, 60 pounds overweight, and they are drinking sugar water while they work out. They don't need to do that. They need to tap into the stores that their body already has and sort of retrain their body, so to speak. Like you don't need to be chugging carbs while you're working out. Now, I'm a big fan of like, on heavier cardio days, like a jiu-jitsu day, throwing a scoop of our electrolytes in something like a coconut water. I even bought a bunch of those baby food packets, which are just like, I like one called banana mango orange, I think is the one that I have a lot. And like, there's some good glucose and fructose in there. And so like, I'll have one of those. I think it's like 22 grams of carbs. And like before I did that barbarian, like, yeah, I slammed a few of those. I ate a higher carb meal the night before. So it's not like your body can't tap into carbs from food. But if you're talking to me right now and you're like, yo, I'm doing, training for whatever, I'm running like 50 miles or some shit. Yeah, bro. Like you can probably get away with having some dextrose, some sugar. But I think that's a pretty unique thing, And then people are like, oh, like, why don't you put sugar in the electrolytes then? Well, bro, cane sugar is extremely cheap and it's a very dose dependent thing, as I just talked about. If you are looking at me right now and you're like, Brendan, I'm training for a 60-mile run. Cool, bro. Buy some sugar and put a scoop in a bottle of water with our electrolytes and dose it however you want. That's fine. Selling sugar in a tub is just not really like, it doesn't make sense, bro. You can just buy cane sugar and dose it yourself. So that's kind of what I think about that. I'm not anti carb, not even anti sugar. I just think most people, vast majority, are overdoing it with processed sugar. And then on the other side of things, there's no really hard studies on this or anything like that. Talking to the functional medicine docs, as I always say, they see a lot of yeast issues and candida issues in folks that consume a lot of processed sugar. And yes, that even includes their marathon clients that have a lot of dextrose powders going on, their bodybuilding clients that have a lot of mass gain or dextrose products. They just see a lot of gut issues. It appears like our body is meant to consume natural, real food and function off of that. So that's something to be aware of. Am I saying that's going to happen to everybody? No, but something to note. This guy said, Santa Cruz got me locked in. Clav radicalized me. Interesting comment there. I mean, hey, I'm glad I got you locked in. What I always tell people is I just put out information. I show people how I live, what I do genuinely. And if people, follow some of that, they did the work themselves. So congrats on you for that discipline getting locked in. As far as the Clav radicalize me thing, I think we need to be clear about something, guys. There are always going to be content creators that say some more out there stuff. Always. You need to have some personal responsibility that you don't watch one clip of somebody because there's going to be another Clav in whatever, a couple of years, that you're not like so influenced. That you, even with me, bro, like you shouldn't be watching a clip of anybody and just making it radically change your life. Like have some personal fucking responsibility. It's why I'm not really a fan of like policing free speech in any way or policing content, because it's like you should be able to look at ideas in the marketplace of ideas and do what is good for your life. And I know it's tough because a lot of you are young. And so like there is like a good argument for like, well, what about, a 13-year-old that sees the content? They're easily influenced. Okay. I get what you're saying there, but I don't know, bro. A lot of you, like, it sucks that you guys have to grow up faster, but like, if you're 16 or 17 years old and you're going to watch one clip of somebody and make that radicalize you, as you say, well, then I don't know, you're kind of stupid. Like, there were people that watched Nirvana when Nirvana was popping off and started doing drugs because Kurt Cobain did drugs and they thought it was cool. There's always that group. There were people that just went to Nirvana shows. They thought it was cool and they, had a good time. So, like that lesson right there should reign true for all the content that you're going to see. I watch Clav videos, bro, and laugh. They're entertaining to me. Like I'm never going to go treat women the same way he treats them or whatever, like go party or do some of the stuff that he says. So like to try to police his content or say that it radicalizes people, like where are we at with personal responsibility in the United States of America? We don't want that shit taken away. We don't want to become a nanny state where somebody goes, oh, we can't have you watch Clav content because, oh, you're going to go do this. Like, nah, bro. I think that shit's dumb. We should be able to watch what we watch and make a decision for ourselves. Yeah. What do you think? Let me know. Brendan, how do I heal my low back pain? What do I do? I'm going to give you a 3-prong approach right here. Number one, you should start hanging from a pull-up bar to get some space in those discs, okay? Just sort of like get everything, stretched out. And then you're going to start to do some of that low back ability stuff. All you're going to start with is doing some reps where you go down on that machine. We'll have the machine pop up right here, me doing some reps on it. And then you're going to go back up and just do holds, okay? You don't want to just start to rep it out. You want to start to get some blood flow and strength into that low back, into the glutes, into the hamstrings. And you're going to learn that. The next thing you're going to do, it's called box breathing, but you're going to do box breathing while you sort of lie down on the ground and shove your low back into the ground. Imagine there's a bunch of $100 bills along your low back, like touching your spine, and you need to press those into the ground while you breathe into your belly. Retraining this and sort of getting the ribs to be able to tuck down is amazing for low back health. So those 3 things right there can really, really help your low back health. They've helped mine. And yeah, follow low back ability and start to do some of those things. All right, now at the end of these episodes, I want to quickly do this every time I do an AMA and just sort of yap about some stuff that I've been doing in my own life that's benefited my health. So we're going to get into it real quick. Number one, I've talked about it before, the blue light blockers. Guys, my sleep scores are so much better when I actually remember to wear these. And I do remember, like, I'm pretty fucking dialed in with it. But like when that sun sets, I try to have those on. And sometimes I can be a bitch sometimes. Like I'll be like watching a show with my wife and it is like the TV is fucking orange, bro, because I have these actual like blue light blockers. And sometimes I'm like, ah, fuck, like I want to like the show's good. It's not worth it for me. Like I'd rather watch it with the blue light blockers and I like get used to it and then my sleep score is way better. Spending just more time outdoors in general has helped me a lot. So I'll work on my computer and phone outdoors. So I'm trying to get you guys more outdoor time at schools. They lock me up for that. Still working on that, fighting that case, and I can speak more about it. So like the blue light blockers are for real, guys. They just are. And you can just get a cheap pair, bro. You don't need like an expensive ass pair, but they have to actually have that reddish orangish tint. They can't be the clear ones. The clear ones are cap. They don't work. Okay. They don't block blue light. So you need that reddish orangish ones. The next thing I've been doing is I've been upping my vitamin C dosage. I touched on this a little bit earlier, but just with all the studies with vitamin C helping collagen production, I did some lab work with Dr. Justin, and my vitamin C levels were just on the like mid lower range. This when I wasn't supplementing. So I'm like, okay, like I eat vitamin C rich foods. You know, I eat berries and I eat like, vitamin C rich foods, but my diet's pretty good. But seeing that vitamin C on the mid to low range, Dr. Justin and I decided to start having me supplement with vitamin C. This led me down the path of formulating our own vitamin C product that's not out yet, but like having a variety of these vitamin C compounds and also like polyphenol rich fruit powders in there and stuff like that. That's been cool. I feel like my immune system's been a little bit more dialed in. That's been really fun for me and good for me. The next thing is some of this mitochondrial support stuff. So taking some higher doses of stuff like CoQ10, PQQ, just to get that mitochondrial health more dialed in. And that's from Dr. Abood and I talking about that, running some mitochondrial lab tests on myself, upping that dose of CoQ10. If you want to go the animal-based route, you can eat more beef heart. It's actually really rich in CoQ10, or you can supplement. The other thing is I have been taking some fish oil. A lot of people have asked me about fish oil and omega-3s. There's so much research on omega-3s benefiting your skin health, your brain health, your joint health. My problem is finding a brand is really difficult. So I don't work with this brand at all. They're probably going to like run a fucking ad with my face now. I'm about to say this shit, but whatever. I don't really give a fuck. There's a brand called Rosita, and why I like them is they're directly partnered with a fishery. You have to find a brand that is directly partnered with a fishery and kind of ships like direct to you because, bro, fish oil goes bad. It goes rancid, okay? So this shit is packaged in amber glass. I get the cod liver oil from them, and I hope the shit doesn't sell out because it's like a kind of a small company, it looks like. Whatever. Nordic Natural is also pretty good from their lab tests from what I've seen. And so I get this Rosita cod liver oil, and it arrives to me in an amber glass thing. I put it in my fridge. I've been taking some of that. Also just been eating more fish in general. I think people are really scared of seafood. They think that like it's going to cause them mercury poisoning. There are actually so many studies on this, and you make a valid point. If you eat like a larger pelagic fish often, you can have mercury issues. But they've done studies where people eating a pretty good amount of tuna. The amount, like if you're eating tuna more than 3 times per week, there are going to start to be some mercury issues. Smaller fish, bro, you can eat a lot of sardines. You can go pretty in on them. Salmon, even like, and not get mercury issues. People worry about these parasites and stuff with fish. I've done a lot of parasite lab testing in my gut. I haven't really seen an issue. You do want to go high quality if you're eating raw fish, but I've been eating a bit more seafood lately. Feeling good off that. I mean, that's like kind of the main things I'll leave you guys with, but let me know any questions or anything you want me to look at. Oh, I've been going to my biologic dentist. I did a post on dentistry in general. You want to find a good biologic or holistic dentist. I had one back home in SF that I would go to. Now I found one down here. They're going to look at your airway. They're going to look at your oral microbiome, sort of like a GI map test, but for your salivary function and see what's going on in your actual mouth. They're not going to do fillings with non-biocompatible materials. It's just dialed in, bro. And so I've been getting all that worked on and dialed in. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Love you guys so much. Leave some questions for next week. Anything, you can ask me anything, okay? And yeah, go get some products on Amazon. Type in Santa Cruz Paleo. Go get some merch. We do have Santa Cruz Paleo shirts and stuff. 100% cotton shirts. We don't make money on them, so oftentimes they're like $17, They're a good deal. Those are only on the website. And if you've tried our products, leave a review on Amazon. That does help us grow. We don't pay for reviews like many other companies out there. Love you guys so much. Peace. Stay healthy.